Holy great, now you're gonna, I'm gonna have to give you. You want a jiffy one. You want to upgrade. All right. The big one, right. All right. There you go. It's a little taller, whether you're out golfing or you get all that slime on your hands from the whitefish. You know, they're slimy little buggers. But anyhow, it's matching the hatch. When you select the crankbait, it's called matching the hatch. And what we're referring to there is if a smelter swims through the water, he'll send off a different vibration than, for example, an alewife. If an alewife swims through the water, he'll send off a completely different vibration. So when we're trying to select lures, we're looking for something that best represents that forage base. Remember one thing about walleye fishing. What makes a walleye unique to most of the fish in the system? What one thing about their body makes them kind of unique to the rest of the species? Who can tell me that? Their eyes? Where are they? On top of their head. Exactly. Any particular color? Huh? You're welcome. No, and it's important. There's an important part to this where I'm going. Their eyes are on top of their head. One thing I can tell you about walleyes, the biggest mistake you can ever make when you're walleye fishing is going underneath them. What do we call this? Who can tell me what this is referred to as? When you're trying to run a bait back, what are we looking for? There's two words that I'm looking for. Let's start, yeah. Strike zone. Exactly. Oh. It's all right. Yeah. The strike zone. And the strike zone, again, is a very essential part of walleye fishing. Do not, and I repeat this again, do not go underneath them. They're not going to go down, guys. They're just not going down. They'll always come up. That strike zone is dictated by two things. Who can tell me what the strike zone is dictated? There's two things I'm looking for. Who knows it? That would be water temperature and... Oh man, I got a good group today. All right. The strike zone is dictated by two things: water temperature and water clarity. And when you're working for walleyes, okay, guys and girls, try to be above them. If it's cold water, you have to tighten up. If it's dirty water, you have to tighten up that strike zone. For example, if you go to Lake Erie, a very clear basin for the most part until it blows. It settles down there very quickly, but it gets stirred up very quickly as well. And what happens on Lake Erie, for example, a guy go out there and pull a stick bait around on a nice day, water temperature is relatively warm, and what I consider relatively warm would be mid-50s, you know. So you're out there working for walleyes, you're catching the heck out of them, and you get a big blow day. Now you were running a stick bait, you're working 35 feet of water, you're running a stick bait down, let's just say 7 feet, okay? And you're catching all kinds of walleyes, but the fish were down about 25 feet. So they're coming up quite a ways, correct? Now you get a blow day. Guess what? You go out and run that same 7 feet back, you're going back with nothing. Okay? You have to tighten up those tolerances. It's paying close attention to those small details, right, Tommy? Tommy Scarlett's in the back there, by the way. One of the best fishermen in the Midwest. Even though he fishes in a Ranger. So, but anyhow, it's important to pay close attention to these details. And how you learn these types of things is only by going out, sitting in seminars, applying yourself, just like in the river system when you're jigging. If you can't get that boat control down, you guys are going to struggle. But again, it's seat time. Get out there, keep applying yourself, watching other people, what they're doing. Don't be afraid to talk to other people to try to figure out what they're doing. Most of the guys and girls that are out there today will help you. you know, go on these websites like Walleye First or Muskies First or Lake Link, you know, any of these types of things. These can be good resources. Of course, pay close attention to John's show. You know, you'll pick up on tips. I try to be as informative as I can when I'm on the shows, trying to explain why we're doing it, when we should be doing it, these types of things. Again, paying close attention to these details. A simple thing, just real quickly, if you're out that can help you, I'm throwing a lot of spinner baits for smallmouth. One thing that I like to do is go to a super line. A super line is definitely a huge asset to me. And reason being is, when I'm out there, you got to remember one thing about smallmouth, especially fishing Door County. The most important thing is to make long casts. The longer the casts that you make, the more successful you're going to be. Mr. Tony's, how you doing? A friend of mine. I'd like to see all these guys coming down here. Jeff works over at Pam's Outboard there in Green Bay. Any of you guys ever looking for anything, look for Mr. Tony's over there, the Bling Man. So he'll definitely set you up. But anyhow, when you're fishing smallmouth, one thing that I like to do is use the super line. Super line, this is called spider wire that I'm using. One thing that I found out too, just a real quick tip, if you're going to use super lines, use like fire line on the spin rods and use the spider wire on the bait casters. And the reason that is, you know, you look at here, I got crystal fire line on my spinning reel. The fire line is real flat. It's almost like dental floss. You could actually floss with it. If you got a little something, if you're eating jerky out in the boat, don't be afraid to break a piece off and you can floss with it. So it doubles as good fishing line as dental floss, okay? You gotta have good hygiene, correct? But anyhow, the fire line is real flat and it works well on the spin rods, okay? Putting it onto the bait caster, what I'm finding out, because of it being flat, it has a tendency to cut into the spool on the hook set. I like the spider wire because it's round and it doesn't cut into the spool, and so that's just a little tip for you that I found that it's been working well. But one of the reasons I like to use super line, make long casts if you're fishing smallmouth in Sturgeon Bay up in the Door County area, and for that matter, if you're fishing just clear water. If you're fishing clean, clear water, long casts are going to be advantageous to you, okay? If it's calm out, pay close attention to the first third of the retrieve, and then after that, just reel it in. Because you're wasting your time the rest of the time. So, if you get an overcast day or if you get a chop, you have to work it from the time it hits the water to the time you bring it back to the boat. Important tools for smallmouth fishermen or for fishing in general. One thing that I like to have is, believe it or not, I don't care what the conditions are, but polarized sunglasses. Whether it's raining or whether it's sunny out, a good set of polarized sunglasses can be well worth its weight in gold. You look at how much a lower unit costs on the back of your outboard or the back of your inboard outboard. I'll tell you what, you're going to be wishing you bought a pair of those $10 polarized sunglasses when you run up on a rock pile in Cedar Harbor and you're looking at a $2,000 bill to repair it. Okay? So polarized sunglasses can enable you to do a lot of things. Protect your boat, but more importantly, be more successful in fishing. You know, when I cast out with a spinnerbait, remember what I talked about? There's always little idiosyncrasies that will make you a better fisherman.